In this video, we'll show you how you can use the Tedds Project Manager to organise your calculations. The Project Manager has actually been part of Tedds for some time now, but you may not be aware of the benefits of this feature or some of the recent updates. The Tedds Project Manager enables you to work with multiple documents as a single project, allowing quick and easy access to all the documents within that project. This means you can keep your calculations organised, and that creating submission reports or dealing with design changes will be much easier than trying to manage lots of separate documents. In this example, we have 13 calculations organised into folders, each of which can be reviewed and updated at any time. So let's start at the beginning and show you how to create a Tedds project. Here we are at the normal Tedds start screen, and we'll begin by running a single calculation. To make this demonstration a bit quicker, we'll use the provided examples rather than entering in information for a specific design. And as we currently have the US library open, I'm going to choose to run the continuous beam ASD example for the steel member analysis and design calculation. We'll just accept all the default values and finish the calculation. And we can scroll through the results here to look at the design detail if we wish to. We'll probably also want to update our calculation header, so I'm going to put in some details, in this case for the main beam, but I'm going to leave the project details and the job number blank, as we'll come back to that when we start looking at the project manager features. We still need to save our calculation as a .ted file as normal. But using the Project Manager, that means we don't need to create a complex set of folders in File Explorer to organise those documents. Those are the features we'll discuss as part of the Project Manager. And I guess so far this is not much more than what most of you are probably doing already. So let's move on and start looking at the Project Manager features themselves. We've got a separate tab called Project, where all these features are held. And the first thing we're going to do is create a new project. This will open up the panel here on the left hand side and give us an opportunity to actually give our project a name. So I'm going to give it a job reference and call it steel frame. And now we want to start organising our calculations into this section here. We already have an active document open, our current calculation. So to add that to the project, I simply click Active Document, and then the main beam will appear as one of the calculations now within my project. If I have some existing calculations that I've already created that I want to add to this project, I can go to Existing Document and browse to the correct location. So here I've got one for a base plate and our main column, so I can select both of those calculations and open them, which will add them to my Project Manager. And if I want to view either of those, I can double click to open the calculation and view the detail and update them as required. If I'd like to add a new calculation, I just click on New Document. This will take me back to the library, and for this example I'm going to run a pad footing calculation, and I'm going to choose the single column example from the library. Again, I'm going to accept all the defaults and not bother trying to transfer the data through from my column. I just want to show the principles here. So that's my pad footing complete. I'm going to go ahead and save it away as padfooting.ted. I'm going to store it alongside my other calculations. And you'll see the project updates, and I now have 4 calculations that I can step between and update as required. But so far all we've really got is a list of calculations. We haven't really got much structure to it, so now we want to look at adding some folders to give it a bit more organisation. I can click on Add Folder and give the folder a name, so Beams, and then it's simply a case of dragging and dropping the items into that folder. All the commands we've been looking at here so far are also available as a right-click menu in the left-hand pane here, if you prefer. So things like Add Document, Add Existing, and the recent one, Add Folder. So I can add another folder, and this one will be for my main column. And again, it's dragging and dropping the items in. This time I'm going to do it in the correct order, so it follows the design process from column to base plate to pad footing. So not only am I organising my calculations, I'm actually creating an order for them. At this point I think we'll save my project. So we're going to give it a name of the reference plus steel frame, and it's going to be saved as a Tedds project file, a .tep file. And again, I'm going to put it alongside my existing calculations. Using the project header command, we can update the header properties for all the calculations in this project. Things like job number and project, for example. When we edit the details, things that we modify will be applied to all the calculations, and things that we leave or don't change will stay as they are. So we can retain the individual titles for the individual calculations, but general things like the project, job number, revision and so on will be applied to all the documents in the project. And we'll be prompted to make sure that's exactly what we want it to do. And now you'll see here that my main column calculation has got the project and job number, as have the other calculations in this project. One other thing you might want to do is update your calculations if there's been a change to the design, and that change may affect multiple calculations in the project. So what we can do is we can calculate all, which will start at the top of the list and work its way through the various designs. Again, in this case I'm just going to step through the calculations without making any changes, but you can see here now that it's updating all the calculations in order. If you have lots of calculations in your project, that may take a little while, so you may want to be a bit more selective. But now all our calculations are up to date and the header is consistent. So we have our complete project. The final step is to actually get this ready for printing, and to do that we're going to send it to Tedds for Word and use all the output options that come with Microsoft Word to enable us to print. When we click the Send to Tedds for Word, all the calculations will be sent to a single Word document in order, each starting on a new page, effectively creating a single Word document from all our individual calculations. And here we go, there's the main beam and the main column and so on. We won't go into the various features of Tedds for Word in this demonstration, but it's worth noting that these calculations can actually be run and updated within this document if you wanted to, and you can also update the calculation sheet header if needed. We also won't go into the various features of Word that you could also use to smarten up your documents even further, but we will actually go to the very top of our document and add a table of contents just to complete this exercise. So for there we're going to use the Word feature of table of contents, and in this example I'm just going to ask for 2 levels of detail. And that will insert a table of contents at the start of my document, which is linked up to the various calculations further on in the document. And now the final stage is either printing or perhaps saving this PDF. And again, we're just using Word commands here, so File Print, or perhaps File Export, in this case to PDF. I'm going to save it alongside my other calculations in my project folder and give it another name with the reference and steel frame. One little tip here is if you're creating PDFs and you have the option to create bookmarks, in this case bookmarks using the headings, you can actually create an index within your PDF document when you've completed it. So let's publish and I'll show you what I mean. So here's my PDF created. It's 22 pages of calculations with the index at the start, and this icon up top here on Adobe Reader will show us the index I'm talking about here, which is a nice easy way of stepping through the calculation. We could obviously add more features like cover sheets and so on using Word features, but for now that's our document complete. In fact, that's our demonstration complete as well. I hope you found it interesting and will now be able to start using the Tedds Project Manager. If you have any topics you'd like us to cover in future presentations, then please do drop us an email to feedback@tedds.com, and this is the same email address you can use for any other suggestions you have for improving the Tedds software. Thank you.